Sunday. We hope that you are having a wonderful week. And I ask you now to join me in saying, divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies. All the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. I am prosperous now, and so it is. And now, I invite you to take a deep breath. Relax your body. Relax your mind. Put your day and the week that you've had aside. Put anything you have coming up just on the back burner for now. Breathe in cool, crisp air. Breathe out all that no longer serves you. And allow yourself to be here now. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one, and all is well. As we begin the inner healing process, I invite you now to relax in quiet confidence and peace, opening yourself to the miracle-working higher power. Now symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your right hand, and let my words act as your own for your own inner healing, acceptance, and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than my own. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge.
I acknowledge.
Acknowledging the higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems, while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I am ready to surrender the conflicts of my own ego to the wisdom of the infinite presence, I simply speak these words. I surrender.
I surrender.
Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the feeling of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined. And I now forgive myself for all my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, I now say, I forgive.
I forgive.
Realizing that I continually experience the effects of my own thinking, I now choose to allow my higher power to recreate me deeply, filling my mind with thoughts that are only constructive, positive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon this divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose.
I choose.
I now center upon that one special idea that I'm willing to accept as real for me in this coming week. Visualizing the idea as already acted upon and brought to pass. In seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I enjoy the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled and gratefully speak these words. I accept.
I accept.
Knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of all those around me, I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude and say, I release.
I release.
Now, in my mind's eye, I envision the presence of someone near and dear to me. This can be a friend, a family member, a teacher or a mentor, someone who has touched my life in deep and loving ways. Someone who may not be physically present in the room with me this morning. I turn toward that image in my mind's eye and say, I'm grateful for the good in your life.
I'm grateful for the good in your life.
Now I open my eyes to the world around me, turn joyfully to anyone who's present in the room physically or virtually on this program, and share in gratitude and confidence in saying, I am grateful for the good in all of your lives.
I am grateful for the good in your lives.
Good morning, Creative Life. Can you hear me in the back? We're in a series on spiritual strategies. And today is called The World in Sympathetic Vibration, and the spiritual strategy of the day is gratitude. And I also promised you last week, or threatened you, depending on your point of view, with some George Carlin. So a little bit of George Carlin today because it fits, it really works. And George Carlin, if you don't know who George Carlin was, look him up on YouTube. And if you do, I'm going to give you a side of him you might not have seen. He said, and I put this in the weekly email as the footer this week, that a cynic is on the inside a disappointed idealist. And he came across as a cynic and made a living at it, a good living, in his stand-up career. Because he poked holes in hypocrisy and stupidity as he saw it in the culture, especially in his own generation, which happens to be my generation too. He was at sort of the other end of it. But he said, you know, baby boomers back in the day had a motto of peace, love, and understanding. Baby boomers today, and he's saying this about 20 years ago, have a different motto, which is, give me that, it's mine. And we're acquisitive, and we want to succeed, and we want to win, and we want to prosper, and we want to climb on board and pull the ladder up after us. And as he's telling this in a hysterically funny and very vulgar way, you can see a little bit of his heart breaking because it saddens him. So I watch a lot of his routines, and I'm not going to do a stand-up routine for you today because if I did, it'd be my own material, not his. And this isn't the time. This isn't the place for that. Well, it is the place for that, it just isn't the time for that. But when I watch him go through long HBO specials, and then sometimes they just have clips of short bits of his, I see one side of him, and then I saw an interview. And the interviewer asked me, he said, do you like people? Because he skewers people in his routines. And he said, yes, I do. He said, I love people as individuals. When you look in their eyes, you can see the universe. When you look in their eyes, you can see the universe. This from this hard-shelled, seemingly angry, emotionally distanced guy. He said, when I have a problem with people is when they get in groups. When people get in groups, they forget who they are. Our job is to not forget. And so today, and everything we do here is really about the inner idealist. getting past the cynicism and the bitterness and the division. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. And she was a remarkable individual and fierce champion of human rights. And the conversation now is who's going to replace her and when are they going to replace her, and is it going to be before the election or after the election? And I was reading about this, and it said all of a sudden there's a real partisan divide. And I'm thinking, whoever's writing this, where have you been? The partisan divide is wider, perhaps, more vocal, perhaps, is more focused now on that issue. But there's been a divide in the culture for a very long time, which COVID revealed, which George Floyd's killing revealed, which current events across fires in the West, flooding in the South. I mean, the various perils that we've been through, none of this is accidental. None of this is random. We don't see the causes always, but somehow something is being brought to our attention in a big way. So I read another piece of material, had nothing to do with George Carlin, but we'll come back to him. Another body of work, and it said that so many religious people right now are trying to find God's meaning in what's going on in the world. That on the one hand, God is punishing us. On the other hand, God is reminding us of our faults, or correcting us in some way, bringing us back to, there's some wonderful lesson coming out of all of this. And the picture that emerged for me as I read this is like a field of a whole bunch of people looking up, kind of stargazing, waiting for the message from God. Like a Close Encounters of the Third Kind of deal, where it's going to come down and settle over us. And if there's anything I know, it's this. That's not how it's going to happen. It's going to come up from within. This is how spirituality works. This is how prayer is functional. This is how healing transpires. It all comes from within. We generate a new idea. We generate a new emotional impulse. Actually, we generate the emotional impulse first, I believe, and then we scramble for the language to define it, to explain it, to contain it, But something comes up from within, a yes, a willingness to participate in the grand unfolding vision of life. I don't know why things are the way they are right now, but I suspect that for me personally, a lot of before, when it didn't look like it does now, was about me not paying attention. I was real busy with other things. I was real distracted. Now maybe I'm less distracted, or maybe because of the way information is communicated now through technology, I'm simply more tuned. I don't get to choose my channels as much. I don't get to practice. There's a wonderful term. I could go on and on about this, and I will some other time, called confirmation bias. Have you heard this one? Whoa, it's fascinating. And what it means is what you believe tends to tailor incoming experience, which is what we teach in this place, right? But it also means that you can use that in an unwholesome sort of way when everything to you looks homogenized, because that's what you're comfortable with. That's the comfort zone that you're in. Everything looks just fine and dandy because it can't be any other way, or you have no way to explain it. That's a closed system in consciousness, and a closed system heads toward entropy. We talk about this in the Heartfelt Living class, the second law of thermodynamics, which says that a closed system generates more heat than it can offload. And so it starts to melt down the components like an engine in your car, That's why you lubricate it with oil and so forth. And you have an air filter. The air filter gets clogged, It's generating more heat than can cycle through the engine. And so atomic redistribution begins to occur. Metal on metal friction. things fly off, things break down. That's basically entropy. On the human level or on the earthly level, all things are heading toward entropy in some state. All things in form are heading to a place of breakdown. So George Carlin said, he was in 8th grade when they taught him about entropy. They told him, they said, everything is eventually going to disintegrate into nothing. And he said, that's an idea I can get behind. I'm going to devote my life to that. There is some small contribution I can make to entropy, to all things falling apart. I'm going to help them along. I'm going to give them a push, because he felt they need to come apart. They need to come apart to remind us, and this is me, not him, but to remind us whence they came. That there's an energy back of all creation. But what happens is, if I have an opinion so well defended about how everything is, I will not admit new information into my experience to challenge that opinion. Therefore, my opinion gets, on the outside, more and more dings and dents on it from incoming information that can't get past it. And on the other hand, inside my opinion, I tend to kind of shrivel up. And I become this lonely outpost of me, you know, and my opinionating about this. You'll see people that defend an opinion that is not only hurting them, it's been disproven. I don't know, it's like if there are people out there who believe the world is flat. I was astonished to learn. And I'm not making them wrong. I mean, you believe you can believe whatever you want to believe. Not my place to say. But it would seem to me, if you think the earth is flat, you're afraid to go too far in any direction, else you might fall off. And that seems limiting to me. There are people out there who think that other people are bad and wrong. There are people out there who think other people can't be trusted, groups of other people, people who are unlike them, and so on. And I believe they're wrong. Though even there, unless certain lines get crossed, it's not my place to get in there, fix the world. Certain lines get crossed, I'm absolutely in there. But what I know is, whenever you think somebody else holds the key to your good, whether they want to give it to you or they don't, whether they have it willingly or they're withholding it from you, you lose touch with your own capacity to love. You lose touch with your own spiritual power. All of a sudden, the world is a cold, lonely place, and it doesn't have to be that way. The world is subjective. What that means is it tends to conform to what we expect of it. What I encourage everyone to do is to expect, through hope, through trust, through welcoming, a better day, a better world tomorrow, but also to not be too locked into exactly how that has to look, because you'll be wrong. We will all be wrong. Tomorrow will dawn and it will look some other way than we exactly expected. We don't get to have the same experience twice, once in imagination and once in form. It turns up how it turns up. All things are redistributing themselves back into pure potential, so it's to pure potential that we turn in consciousness. That's where we do our work, and that's where gratitude comes in. As I'm getting ready after this service, I'm going to record another little bitty talk for a interfaith group that Reverend David is representing this center in, and they wanted a little bitty talk from me about gratitude, like real bitty, a minute on gratitude. How do you do a minute on gratitude? I'm basically not through clearing my throat in a minute. So, anyway. So I got to thinking about gratitude as it applies to people who maybe are not familiar with this teaching, this new thought model of ours. And this is what I plan to say in the 1 minute thing, which you might find useful too. If you ever want to know how to pray, start with gratitude. Most people start with prayer, like if they came to me as a minister, let's say, and they said, so tell me how to pray. What most ministers would do most of the time, what I would probably do most of the time, is I'd give them some words. I'd say, here's some words. Here's a form. There is one life. That life is God. That life is all the life there is. Try these words. Internalize them. This is what we teach in Heartfelt Living in the second or third week. We get into a process called spiritual mind treatment. There are 5 steps to it. There are words and so on. That's one way of approaching it, and that engages the intellect, engages the opinion maker up here, you know. But there's another much more effective way, I think, which is, okay, instead of words, instead of a structure or Our Father, or for heaven's sake, instead of trying to figure out what God is before you warm up to prayer. Is it a father? Is it a mother? Is it a father-mother? Is it, you know, this, that? Is it what culture, what language, what this? Leave all that aside. You want to learn to pray? Look around for something to be grateful for. And you're praying. Probably the highest form of prayer there is. Find something and say within yourself, thank you. Thank you. My eyes just fell. I was planning to say at this point in the talk how grateful I am for the 5 of you who are in the room with me here today and have been for these many weeks and all you do. And I can't thank you enough. And I hope to make it up to you. I'll be here next week to hear Reverend Lisa, and I'll be fumbling with the iPad, trying to do what she does. That's what I plan to say, and I mean it from the heart. But also, as I just said that, my eyes fell on this thing here. I said, look around and find something to be grateful for. This crystal bowl. I have an interesting relationship with this crystal bowl. It was given to us. I don't want to name the name because I don't know. A wonderful member of Creative Life who's still with us, and but it might embarrass her to have her name called. Alina Davis, are you out there? Alina gave us this. All right. She lives in San Antonio now. And she brought this in, and we were still meeting upstairs. Beautiful thing. We learned how to hit it and get it to go, and, you know, go into its vibration, go into its sympathetic vibration. The world in sympathetic vibration. We all sort of attune ourselves to that. And then it got, in a word, schlepped. This got schlepped. It got schlepped from there down here and this and this. And we've redone the stage a number of times. And at one point in time, we got all enthusiastic and we had a door prize or a rummage sale or something. A raffle. That was it. We had a raffle. And I had the bright idea, let's raffle off the crystal bowl. So I put it out there and people showed up. And Jeffrey Oshman, our music director, said, what are you doing? You're raffling off the crystal bowl. So you know what he did? Mensch that he is. He bought it. And he donated it back to the center. And if I'm not mistaken, now I may be over the top with this, but if I'm not mistaken, the whole thing happened over again a couple of years later. And it wound up in a sale and he bought it again. So Jeffrey has a heavy financial investment. This thing is worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars, this crystal bowl. Because he saw in it something I didn't. He heard something, and Melody and Kenzie, they hear something in it that I've learned to appreciate it. I've learned to love it. The place wouldn't be the same without it. We're not going to sell it again. No matter how much money we can wring out of unsuspecting buyers. We're not going to do that. You know. So to be grateful for this. Now, is this thing going to change anybody's life? Is it changing my life? Is it putting money in my pocket or friends in my life? No, of course not. Don't ask too much of the stuff that you're grateful for. It tends not to come from what you're having that interaction with. Do you know what I mean? The love that you seek is coming to you. The good that you seek is finding you, but it's probably not coming from the direction you're looking in because that's how life works. There are ways that life works and there are ways that life doesn't work. But we try them anyway, these ways that don't work sometimes. So look around and be grateful for what's in front of you. You see, we're not a spiritual teaching that's in the business of saving souls. And this was something that bothered George Carlin and others too, was organized religion. He went off on organized religion. I had to send people in a class Bible class we had a few years ago the link to his riff on religion, and it will peel the paint. I mean, he holds nothing back about organized religion. He thinks it's all about money. It's just God is great and created the universe and is the judge of all things and knows the future, but he can't handle money. It goes right through his hands, and he needs more and more of it all the time. And you sit there and you nod and you think, yeah, this is true. And then you think, oh, I'm going to Creative Life tomorrow, and we're going to get up and ask you for some money. I'm not going to get on my private jet, and fly home from here with it. It's about the sustenance of a place where a certain conversation occurs. And here's that conversation. It's not about saving souls. You know why? Yours was never lost. No soul has ever been lost in the history of the universe. Everybody belongs. Everybody is contained within spirit. What then do we do here? And with what sort of passion and intensity do we do it? What we do here is affirm that the God presence within you is revealing to you now your highest good. And we support you in finding that and in walking toward that. And if you encounter obstacles in your life, we walk with you through the obstacles. And if you encounter great success in your life, well, we're happy for you there. And if you think the whole idea is bogus and you blow us off and go away, we don't condemn you to everlasting perdition. We surround you in love and know that you're in your perfect right place. And this is the hard part of this to understand sometimes, is that everybody is in their perfect right place for the moment. But there can be a better place. There can be a happier place, a safer place, a warmer place, a place with more food. And to facilitate that happening for the self and for society, what's called for is some gratitude. I know this sounds counterintuitive in the political environment that we're in right now, where sides are being drawn up and everything is being seen as wrong and needing change, and much does need change. But how you change things is you focus on the world you put in their place. And that begins with gratitude, proactive gratitude. The last thing I'm going to tell the group in the little video we're going to do in a moment, you've heard this many times before, but it's a good reminder to all of us, is that gratitude is proactive. Like you, I was raised to believe if somebody does something nice for you, you thank them. And if they don't, you don't. Okay? You send them a note, you get them on the phone. This is another thing Carlin went off at. He said, why when people are telling you they talked on the phone, do they do this? Everyone knows. He said, phones don't even look like that anymore, right? They look more like this. But everybody knows what a phone looks like, but they have to do it. He says, so somebody called, and then I hung up on them. They called back, and I hung up again, But we wait. We call, we send notes, we send flowers. Oh, thank you so much for what you've done. And if they're not doing it, we tap our foot. Where is my good? Where is my good? Gratitude as proactive is kind of like this. You know how when you send a business letter and you say at the end, like, I need you to do this and this and this, or I need this kind of information. You close it by saying, thanking you in advance for your consideration, right? Thanking you in advance for your reply. What's that doing? It's a little passive aggressive, isn't it? It's a little arm twisting. But you're actually feeling as you said, you wouldn't write the letter if you didn't think you weren't going to get anything back, right? So, the thing is complete now, and you're affirming some sort of response. To look at the universe this way and say thank you for all the good that is yet to come. Thank you right now. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everything that I have that I wanted. I'm grateful for everything I don't have that I didn't want. Think of all of the things that haven't shown up in your life that you wouldn't like. That's a form of gratitude as well. I'm gratitude for things I know what to do with them, they're useful, utilitarian kinds of things. And thank you for things that surprise me, confuse me, confound me, scare me. positively terrify me. Thank you for all of these because they're opening me to different aspects of myself I did not know were there. A great form of prayer, gratitude. So I plan to join you in this coming week and beyond. We're in the high holidays right now of Judaism. Tomorrow is International Peace Day. We affirm peace in the world by being grateful for the world that we have, because it's this world that we're going to render peaceful. They're not going to move this world out of the picture and another one in like scenery on a stage. Now here's the happy, peaceful world with the rainbows and stuff behind it. You know, that's great. But this is the world we've got, man. This is the world that we came into. This is what we work with. So we're grateful for this, and we'll let peace expand, and peace in the heart becomes peace in the home, becomes peace in the land, right? And I would be, probably irresponsible if I didn't mention the fact there's a tropical storm out there too. And our phone team will be getting an email this afternoon about calling everybody after the storm, and I'm going to affirm and know that everybody here is safe and everybody here has everything they need, and we're going to be just fine. As we expand our knowing too to the people of Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi and Oregon and Washington and California and wherever humans are in suffering right now. But gratitude, gratitude. Look around your room, wherever you are right now, this behind the stack of pancakes that Reverend Arthur brought up, right? Look around your room right now and see something there that your eyes fall on that reminds you, not just as an object. See, this is a story, this thing. It's not just an object anymore. That's what I didn't get about it at first, was it was an object. I'm like, well, it's big and it's kind of ungainly and this and this. You know, now it's a story. Now it's got personality to it. Look around your room. Look around the space that you're in for the thread of a story of your life, and let your heart open in gratitude. As we know together, there is, in fact, one life, one power, one presence, pure spirit, everywhere, radiant everywhere, manifesting. These are just words, but let these words act as your own, and let these words conduct you to a place of knowing within yourself, as I am doing now within myself. For I'm treating myself to know that I am so grateful, so thankful, so appreciative, and welcoming and embracing of life just as it is. For it contains the seeds of perfection, of wholeness and goodness. Underneath every cynicism, there is a disillusionment, and under that there is hope, and under that there is just pure light. I claim and know that behind, beneath, and around every human opinion, there is a simple yearning for meaning, for connection with the creative agency of the universe, and that this connection is now made fast. And however we vote, and however we think, and whatever policy issues we concern ourselves with, all of these things are subsumed in light. For we are one human family, one family of living things on this earth. Now, the intellect may say it's not that simple. The heart knows it is. And it's to the heart that I speak these words. And if we are willing, if we're willing to trust, if we're willing to lean forward into life, and let it support us as we move forward, knowing that there's an invisible, intangible power all around us, if we're willing, then we truly have nothing to fear. And all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. For this knowing, the way that it manifests in form through each one of us, I am so deeply grateful. I release this word now into the infinite, calling it done, and so it is.
I have a quick question to the two lady musicians there, the singers. Did y'all coordinate those outfits? Actually, yes. Okay. Because I've been in the room the whole time, but when you guys were up there singing, I went, they're dressed the same. How cute. So my mom and I couldn't do that because she was a brunette who could tan, and I was a redhead who burned. So we couldn't wear the same colors. All right. There's a whole lot going on in the world. So I am simply going to invite you into a moment of peace. I mean, it's helpful that tomorrow is International Peace Day. So for a moment, I'm going to ask you to consider what peace means to you. Is it a place? Is it a time? Is it a person? Is it an animal? And when you've got that, bring it fully into your experience. And the way you do that is all five senses. What does it sound like? What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? And what does it taste like? So engage all five of your senses. So it can be a warm moment in the sun, in a green grassy field, with a purring cat that smells like roses and tastes like rain. And when you have that moment of peace, hold it and then save it. You know, like you do on your computer? So that when you have those moments that are not peaceful, you can open that file back up, reground, and recenter. So in the knowing that there is one life, one presence, one power, one love, I am knowing that each and every being in this universe is made up of that power. And that love is flowing through each and every one of us. That love flows through us, in us, as us. And as we move through this world, we remember that we are the blessings. We are the blessings to each other. We are the blessings to ourselves. We are the blessings to this world. The world is blessed by us being here, just as we are. There is nothing that we need to do other than be more fully ourselves. And so I'm knowing peace. I'm knowing love. I'm knowing calmness. I'm knowing that the weather is shifting around to bring rain where it is needed. Coolness where it is needed. Healing where it is needed. There is no place love is not wanted. So I'm knowing that love is moving. Moving as it always does, through us. And I am grateful to know this peace. I am grateful to know this place. I am grateful for these people. And I am grateful for gratitude. Because as Meister Eckhart says, if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it will be enough. And so I know this, and I release this, knowing that it is so, and knowing that all is well. And so it is.
Say with me now, something wonderful is happening through me.
Something wonderful is happening through me.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my
I
body.
feel it in my mind.
I feel it in my
I
mind.
feel it in everything I am.
I feel it in everything I
I
am.
choose it.
I choose
I
it.
trust it.
I trust
I
it.
use it.
I
And
use
I
it.
love it.
And I love it.
So it is.
And so it is.